All right, thank you very much for joining again today. And today we'll be discussing a very important topic and in the series that we started. And this will be the last in this series. I want to thank all those that have been part of it and have learned one way or the other. We'll be starting a new series next session, and it will be on relationship. It's been titled The Anatomy of Relationship and Marriage. The anatomy of relationship and marriage. That is what we're going to be looking at the next time. The anatomy of relationship and marriage. But today we'll be looking at the last in the series of the fight, the faith, and the future. The fight, the faith, and the future. Remember, this series is aimed at answering the questions of atheists and using this question to strengthen your faith in God and leverage on it to find a reason to live for God on earth while fulfilling your calling. Many are in doubt regarding Christianity, regarding the Bible, regarding the existence of God. There's a big challenge in our society today. Many Christians and even pastors and their children are becoming atheists simply because of the questionable brand of the gospel that have been presented to them. The essence of this series, therefore, is to help young people who are doubting their Christian faith, who are made to look stupid for believing in God, and the Bible, who are made to look stupid for believing in God and the Bible, and who have been sold a wrong or bad version of Christianity, to begin to see Christian faith not as religion, but rather as a way of life. Going through the internet and seeing a lot of young people, teenagers, people in their 20s and 30s, who are very angry with what their parents believe, who believe they have been fooled, who believe they have been deceived and will not accept Christianity. This is the result of religion, which was painted to them, and because they think and ask questions, they are able to see that what has been sold to them is fake. It's not correct. But you know what? That is the situation we have found ourselves. That is the situation we have found ourselves. And this is very important because if we don't solve this problem, we might regret our actions in the future. We might find ourselves becoming like those that brought or that expanded the scope of Christianity in Africa, otherwise called the West. They didn't bring it, they expanded the scope because it was here before they came. Those that went to Pentecost, from Libya, from Egypt, from Ethiopia, those that got born again, the Ethiopian eunuch, already heard about Christ. But of course, there is no doubt about the fact that the coming of the West expanded the scope of Christianity. Like I said, this will be the last part of this program. Next week, we'll start a new series in which we'll be talking about the anatomy of relationship and marriage. The anatomy of relationship and marriage. And that will take us maybe for another 2 months. And I'm hoping I'll be able to answer a lot of questions that people have, particularly those, sometimes when we talk about relationship and marriage, most of the time we focus on people just wanting to get married. We tend to leave out those that are already married, who are already inside the heat, and some of which are not enjoying themselves at all, but find it very, very difficult to cope in that relationship. So we'll be looking at all that together, starting from next week. So last week, I was asking some questions. The question you can ask atheists, and some of the questions were, who determined where you were born? Who determined whether you be male or female? Who determined the date of birth? Those are not accidental. Someone determined it. I don't know what the atheists will call that person. So let me continue the question today. What about the color of your eyes and the color of your skin? Who determined that? If you are not able to play a role in this physical feature you are carrying, and you are able to accept them the way they are, why are you not accepting God the way He is? Because you accept yourself as black, you accept yourself as white, you accept your eye color, you accept your skin color. Why can't you accept God? The Bible have answer to all these questions. That is why I will trust the Bible and also believe in the God of the Bible. It is important to note that your ability to ask this question is actually because you have been permitted to do so. The reason why a man will ask this question, that query the existence of God, is because of their pride. In this life, you don't take any decision at all as far as your personal life and body is concerned. And nothing depends on you. You don't take any decision at all as far as your personal life is concerned. Like I asked last week, who determined the condition of your birth and your country of birth? Who determined the date, time, and your place of birth? What role did you play in determining who is your mother or your father? Obviously, you don't have control over all this, but it might interest you to know, atheist, someone determined that. So if you don't have a say in your being, in your physical outlook, in the country you are, in the family you were born into, in the community you were born into, in the country you were born into, in the continent you were born into, how dare you question the existence of God? Who decides your height, by the way? If you say you don't know, that means the decision has been taken away from you. Who did that? Your maker took that decision away from you. Your maker took that decision from you. If you say you don't know, your maker took that decision away from you. The person who decides the answer to this question is the person that we call the Almighty God. By the way, you slept yesterday night, atheist. How were you sure you will wake up this morning? As a matter of fact, who determined that you wake up this morning? Who determined that you wake up this morning? Who? Who determined that you wake up this morning? How do you even know you wake up this morning? How do you even know you wake up this morning? The same person that determines answer to this is God. The person that determines answer to this is God. Who determines when? Who determines where you went this morning? Sorry, who determined when you went out this morning that you will come back home again? If you say you don't know, if you say you don't know, that means the person, that means that decision has been taken away from you by your maker. That decision has been taken away from you by your maker. If you say you don't know, if you say you don't know, that has been taken away from you by your maker. And your maker is the one that decides answer to this question, and that is the Almighty God. Who decides the date, the time, and condition of your birth? If you say you don't know, that means the decision is taken away from you by your maker. The person who decides the answer to this question is the person called the Almighty God. All these are interpersonal questions that shows that there is an author of life who is called the Almighty God. And it shows how weak we are, frail we are, how minute, infinitesimal, and irrelevant we are in a number of interpersonal issues about our lives. Before I close today and take more questions, since today is the last session, why is death necessary? In life, evolution is continuous, just as death is required for a seed to evolve and become a tree, so is man. So death is an evolution from a lower level and quality of existence to a higher level and quality of existence. Someone said death is a transportation from the physical realm to a spiritual realm. Death is inevitable for man. Because man needs to go back to where it came from. Because it was sent there on an assignment, and he has to go back to where it came from. So death is necessary for the man to shed the body and release the spirit to go back to where it came from. The spirit needs to go back to where it came from when the assignment is completed or when the time is up. And the means of transportation is called death. And death simply means separation. Separation of the body from the spirit. Spiritual death is separation of a man, spirit of a man from God. Physical death is separation of the spirit from the body. Eternal death or second death is separation of the spirit of man eternally from God. Physical death plus spiritual death equals to second death. Second death. Why does God wait for death to happen before judgment? What some people don't understand is that this is a sign that God is a patient God, giving human beings all the latitude while they are on earth to take that decision, to come back to him. He's a God of patience, he's a God of love, he's a God of perseverance, he's a God of long suffering, and giving mankind chance to change their mind. So this is not a weakness on the part of God, but rather a sign of love. But please note that the action of a man still have consequences. Still have consequences. The action of man still have consequences on earth based on life principles. So even though there is punishment at death, but the action of man have consequences on earth. God is not more. Whatsoever you sow, you will reap. What is the concept of destiny about? The concept of destiny is determined by what you do with the gift that God has given you. God created man because human being and gave them gift to come and use it to manifest his glory on earth. No wonder when he created man, the first thing he told him is, be fruitful. When he created man, the first thing he told him is, be fruitful. Be fruitful. Be fruitful. Be fruitful. Why was man said to be fruitful? Man has a seed inside of itself. Mankind has a seed inside of itself that is supposed to be planted to germinate and produce fruit. It's supposed to germinate and produce fruit. So the concept of destiny is determined by what you do with the gift that God has given you. God created human beings and gave them gift to come and use it to manifest his glory on earth. But what you make of it is totally your decision. So what becomes of your life at the end of life is not the making of God, but rather your own making. What you make of your life. What you make of your life is your own making. Therefore, your destiny, whether good or evil, is in your hand as human being on earth. Even though God gave you gifts and he wants you to achieve greatness on earth with it, but what you make of it is entirely in your hand. The earth created by God has been a chaotic place with human beings. with human carnage every time, like the one going on in Ukraine and Russia. And God has made effort to redeem man, but to no avail. How are we sure that heaven will not be like this? The guarantee that we have that heaven will not be like this is the fact that the sun had never gone on holiday. The night has remained perpetually for days. Night and day always happen. This same guarantee is what enabled the atheists to be able to wake up in the morning. Note that the issues of mankind on earth are not caused by God, but by the making of mankind themselves. Making of mankind themselves. And my last question, what makes Satan to commit the sin when there was no devil at the time? Who tempted him? It is his ego. The ego of Satan caused him to sin. This is what is also causing many atheists to deny the existence of God today. A number of things we do, it's not the devil causing it. The devil is not omnipotent, omnipresent. The devil is not everywhere. A number of things that people do is their flesh and their ego. It's not all the time the temptation comes. It's the ego. It's the ego. Most sins that are committed every day by human beings are not necessarily from the devil, but rather from the ego of mankind. I've attempted to answer as many questions as possible in this series, and other questions that came along the line in the question and answer session we've had since we started this program. I'm hoping these recordings on SoundCloud will be of immense benefit to those who are looking for answers. At least to some extent, they probably begin to have a second thought on their understanding of who God is and how God functions. It's so important for us to understand that Christianity is not religion, it's a way of life. Going to church is our invention. It's not bad, it's good. But even if you don't go or you don't have a place to go, but you have enough written document that give you an idea on how to maintain constant fellowship and relationship with him, you are fine. I currently have friends who are doctors in Saudi Arabia. They don't have opportunity to attend any building. But for the internet, they would have been doing, there are 4 of them or 5 of them in the family. Father, mother, and 2 or 3 kids. They would have been doing all that by themselves, have fellowship in their home, and they will be Christian because they're in Saudi Arabia. The husband and wife are doctors working in Saudi Arabia. They left January this year. So if you are in a place where there is no church at all, then you understand that Bible is a manual for life. It gives you what you should do, why you should do it, the way you should do it, why you must live by love. It just tells you how to live your life and maintain relationship with God, period. That someone comes to speak to you every week is good. But that you don't do it or you don't go there or you don't have one does not make you less a Christian. When I go to Dubai, I attend Sunday service on Friday. It doesn't make the Christian there less a Christian because Monday is a working day in Dubai. Friday and Saturday are weekends. Are weekends. What does that mean to you? My goal is to make you to see that Bible is plain and simple. It just gives you instruction on how to live your life, period. So whatever you do along the line, a lot of systems and structure we have put in place are good, no doubt, going to church, having a pastor, having all these leaders. They are good. They're not bad. But that's not what makes you Christians. Attending meetings is not what makes you Christians. Going on the street talking to people about Christ is not what makes you Christian. Praying is not what makes you Christian. What makes you a Christian is the life you live by virtue of establishing a relationship with God. And this is very important. Sincerely, if we paint Christianity the way it should be painted, many people will love Christianity, because then it doesn't become religion where I say, I am a Christian, you are a Muslim, I am a Christian, I am this, I am this. Yeah. It then makes you free to be able to live the way you should live. It makes you to be more productive, creating value to human beings, being a blessing, supporting people, helping here and there, just doing what Christ said. I was hungry, you fed me. I was naked, you gave me clothes. I was in prison, you visited me. And he said, inasmuch as you do these things to the least of these people, you are doing it to me. Today, many people profess to be Christian. They don't give to the needy. They don't have a budget to support the helpless. They don't have a budget to support the needy in the society, in the environment. They don't have anything put aside to be a blessing to others. Everything about me, myself, and I. Or my family, my tribe, and my own people alone. My family, my tribe, and my own people alone. That is the height of selfishness. But that is the society we find ourselves. I hope I've been able to help as many of us that have listened to this series to be able to make Christianity a lot simpler, not complicated, with so many things we put on it, so that we'll be able to also transfer this value to our children and, of course, to an unborn generation. All right, thank you very much. Like I said, next week we'll be starting a new series titled The Anatomy of Relationship and Marriage. The Anatomy of Relationship and Marriage. It's going to be very explosive. Tell your friend who are already thinking of getting married that they need to come and learn so that they don't behave like their parents behave, because our world has changed significantly. Let me entertain some comment and question from you today. Someone say relationship and marriage is sweet. I know a lot of people are thinking about that now. That's why it's our next topic. Okay, let me hear from you, Victor. Any question for me tonight? Today is the last session. We had this session because of you. We are moving to relationship and marriage next week. Let me take your question.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you for honoring my, let's say,
your request.
My idea of, yes, my request generally for these past 10 weeks. Yes, sir. So, yes, I think I was not around last week. So, I have a couple of questions. Let me just quickly go into the question.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, you talked about, in today's session, talk about like who determines the color of your skin, who determines your height, and they said that is God. That means you really don't know who determines your height. But someone can explain that is really a no-brainer, because it just shows that if you're praying at all, there's a high possibility of you becoming tall too.
Who made your parent tall?
Pure science. It's just
who made your parent tall?
Their own parents too.
Who made their own parent tall? When you go down,
they trace it back to Adam.
When you go down the chain, you will see go back to God. So thinking, oh, because of who put the gene there? Who determined the DNA? Who determined the DNA? Who determined the genetic codon and sequence?
Oh, okay. Yes, so this was a question I wanted to ask. Like, it's also related to this.
Okay.
You said that and this has to do with like evolution. that if man believes that we're created by God and evolution was not didn't play a role in making us who we are today. So how come in the world today we have Caucasians, we have black, we have whites, we have people that are brown, and we have different skin color. So if there's no evolution, so how do we explain the differences in skin color and
Adaptation.
maybe
Adaptation. Adaptation.
tradition?
Adaptation.
But that adaptation is also a refined way of calling it evolution, because
No, that's
how do
evolution.
you
So why have we not evolved to something else from human? Why are the monkeys still monkeys till today? Why have they not becoming human again? Why don't we have new monkey becoming human being?
is it we have reached the climax now?
Oh, you have reached the climax. Who determined the climax? Who determined the climax? If evolution theory is real, then there shouldn't be a climax. It should be continued. So if someone stopped it, who stopped it? I believe in evolution, but not in the way Charles Darwin discussed evolution. Human beings evolve in knowledge, evolve in understanding, evolve in skill. I believe in that kind of evolution, not the evolution that changed a rat or a monkey to human. No, but a evolution that changed a plane that Wright brother did to Airbus of today. I believe in that kind of evolution. Evolution that changed from the first industrial revolution to the fourth industrial revolution. I believe in that evolution.
So the adaptation, what do you mean? Can you like explain what you mean by adaptation? Like in what,
The
how
reason why
does
the white have to be white is because of their environment. If they have a melanin like us, the reason why we have melanin is because of the sun in this place. This is needed for us to be able to survive the heat of the sun. They are in an environment that they don't need melanin. So melanin for them disappear because it's not needed again. It's not being used. Because all color evolved from black, actually. Remember, if you were with us when we started this series, the mankind started from the Near East, somewhere in the Middle East. That's where Garden of Eden was. Somewhere in the Middle East. And the people in that place are not white. People in that place are not white. So as people move and spread, the environment influence. I serve in the north. If you serve in the north, you will see young children in December when it's extremely cold that I cannot expose any of my body. Young children will come out with panty. Children. Me, adult, I cannot try it. I can't even bath self, wahala. Children will come out with pants. That's adaptation. Because they grew up there, their parents grew up there, their gene has evolved and adapted to that environment. That's exactly what happened to the white.
Oh, okay. All right, sir. So another question that I wanted to ask again today is, you said that our decision, the decision we make, the idea, the concept of destiny.
Yes.
That's at the end of that, really our destiny is really in our hands,
Exactly.
and what you make of it is really about what you do.
Yeah.
But again, I look at it that is that totally true, because many a times there's, even as human being, there are many things you can't control. So it does not even matter. For example, when okay, do let me use the example of COVID. Let me use the Bible. The Bible, there are instances in the Bible that it was especially stated that it's not of him that runneth, of him that willeth, and of God that showeth mercy. that the wise men are not always rich, and it shows that there's also that no matter that and that there's a possibility that even after your hard work, there's still a possibility that things may not really turn out the way you want them to be. And I think there's also a scripture that backs that up by saying that, I think it's in Ecclesiastes. I can't just let me see where I can find the chapter.
The race is not
Yeah, I
for the
was saying about that.
swift. The battle is not to the wise. The race is not for the swift, but the race is not for the slowest. The race, if you look at that scripture, the race is not for the swift. Means if we have 10 athletes who can run very well, the person that will win will be among the top 3. The swiftest might not win, but the slowest will not win. It's the second best that will win. The swiftest might not win, but the slowest will not win also. It's the second best or third best that will win. Not the lowest, number 10 or number 9. So the place of chance is not left out, but if you don't put your effort, chance cannot even work in your favor at all. Do you know when you say someone is lucky? Do you know what it means to be lucky? LUCK, laboring under correct knowledge. The harder you work, the luckier you get, particularly when you know the right type of work to do. Particularly when you know the right type of work to do, and you do it at the right time, in the right season. Particularly when you know the kind of work to do. So it is wisdom and learning to be able to know what to do. The person that will now be lucky among the people that put in all the effort, it's not the one that didn't put the effort. It's among the best. So the race is not for the swift, meaning among all the swiftest might not be win. It might be the second or third swift, not the first. Because time and chance.
But why?
That time and chance.
Why would the swift not win?
What happened if he fell on the way? What happened
if he doesn't fall? There are races that.
What happened if he fell? What happened if he did not gain start on time? You know what it means to gain start as an athlete, right?
Yes, yes.
If he didn't gain start on time, he won't win. The second best will win. And you know between them is seconds. 0.0 seconds, 0.02 seconds can make a lot of difference. So that scripture is not encouraging laziness. It's only saying that in as much as you put in your best, still depend on God. But you need to put in your best first. Don't depend on God and not put in your best. If you don't put in your best, depend on God, you're wasting your time.
But talking about this again too, like I've seen a scenario of like two brothers that read the same course, attended the same university. One kept on like I think they almost graduated like almost the same, almost around the same time. One has since the day of graduation has been going and like he got a job immediately, and the younger brother that studied the same course too has been struggling to get the same job. So and I wanted that.
So what's your conclusion on the two of them? Tell me your conclusion first. What's your conclusion on the two of them?
No, so okay, I may say maybe one of them may not be.
No. The conclusion is that one is successful, the other is not successful. Then you now have to define success. You now have to define success. What you don't know sometimes is that God, let me give you a good example. I've given this example here before. Do you know how much I tried to do medicine that I didn't work out? I chased medicine to a lawyer, it didn't work out. I chased medicine to UI, it didn't work out. I chased medicine to Unilag, it didn't work out. I eventually did physiology. Sometimes as human, we just conclude based on some physical reality. Maybe it's not even meant to study that course. And God, today, I will tell you, I believe 110% that God deliberately prevented me from doing medicine because of what I'm supposed to be doing with my life today. And I could not be happier today than if I'm in medicine. I couldn't be happier. In retrospect, then it wasn't funny, but in retrospect, every effort I made, people that had less GPA than me graduating got direct entry for medicine. I did not get it, even though I performed better than them at the end of the result, at the end of the day. With their result, they still got
I don't get CGPA where?
When I finish now, should be when you finish physiology, you can do direct entry to medicine now.
Okay.
For people that my GP was better than, got it. We both had 2-1, but I have a stronger 2-1 than them, but they got it. But I didn't get it. Every effort was thwarted. But today, in retrospect, I could not be happier. I mean, I've been in places, I've been on different platforms that if I'm in medicine, I will not be able to make it to those places. I will not. There are some things that if they do in our country today, in a particular sector, if they need to talk to top 10 experts or top 5 experts, maybe top 3 experts, I will be one of them. Maybe. In our country, at the national level. But I was chasing medicine before. So you really cannot conclude. Maybe it's not supposed to be in that field. Maybe God is allowing that deliberately so that he will be able to realize. So every effort is not working out. Why? What God could have prevented is power he allowed in his wisdom. Things are not working out well, and God allowed it to be like that for him because maybe that will help him. So what I'm trying to say is that you can't conclude based on that. No, you can't.
But what would the person now do now? Because you have spent like 5 years in engineering, having in computer science.
I did medicine.
And
I did physiology now. I did physiology now. For the last 15 years, I left Lutz 2004. Yes, 2004. That's about 18 years. I've not done anything medical. So that you study a course does not matter. It's to discover yourself and follow through on what you believe you are called to do. It's now time to do. In fact, let me tell you, when I was chasing medicine and it was not working, after a while, in fact, there was a very tragic story. There is a man who was very close to the provost of UI. He's his friend. He did everything. Everything was perfected to be able to ensure I do medicine in UI. They forgot my document when they were carrying me to Abuja. They forgot it. It was a very tragic story. I could not get it. Someone just made stupid mistake. I had to begin to ask myself, so wait, it's like this is not a road I'm supposed to travel on. And I told myself, okay, let me, first of all, I knew one thing about myself. I knew whatever I'm going to do in life will involve speaking, impartation of knowledge, training, teaching, something like that. And I believe if I can understand, I can do it in any field. So, and when I finished, banking was thriving, the economy was growing. I went into banking. And inside banking, I saw the destiny. I saw it. I found myself in a unit. I fell in love with the unit. I wrote what certification I can find and then left banking to do what I do today. Contribute my own quota to that sector of the economy. So if you know that person, you can link me up with him. Let him reach out to me. Let me discuss with him. If he just finished and is not making headway, it's not the end of life. It's just to let you know, it's for me. You know, human beings sometimes, when we are having those blockades, it's a time for reappraisal, to check again. Is this something I could have been doing differently? Maybe I'm in the wrong environment. You know, it's a time for reappraisal. And it's a time to rethink. But you know, someone will be going and be praying about a devil that does not exist.
But is it not now? I feel like time has gone because this person is already, I think, it's close to 40 or something like that. Although
time is not gone. Time is not gone. That's
another sector.
Time is not gone. No. Is it,
Sir, but
is it dead,
even
is it dead or
in some
alive?
other things that
Hello,
he said
hello. Is it dead or alive?
is alive.
Time is not gone.
But there are landmarks for some certain
Yes,
kinds of
it might be late, no doubt, but time is not gone. It might be late, no doubt, unfortunately, but time is not gone.
Well, how far can you go? At this, where are you?
The first thing is to
How
discover
far
himself first. Discover himself first. Discover himself first. Know what he wants to do first. That is the beginning. From then, he can then begin to look at, okay, which direction should I go? Where should how do I start from here?
So, but don't you think it's easier said than done? Because someone that is in his 40s, no more.
Hello.
By
You know the challenge you have. You know the challenge is that when you say it's either than done, the person is already in the situation already. Does he have a choice? Is it that he decided to live a meaningful life or continue the life he has been living that is not working? He has a choice. He should continue the life he's believing that is not working. Continue it now and expect the same result. No problem. If you enjoy it. If you need a change, then do something different. It's his choice. It's not a matter of easier than done. It's a choice you have to make. If you want a change, then he do what he needs to do. If he doesn't want to do it, then we continue the way he has always done and get the result he has always gotten. That's a choice. It's a choice. If he's not able ready to eat the humble pie and do what he needs to do, it's a choice he has chosen to make.
But okay, for example, now in your own situation now, when all those stuff were happening, like, okay, my own issue, what I'm trying to do for me, that how do you prevent time from going? Because looking at all those years that
that's exactly what happened. When I noticed, that's why you need to be, when you have a relationship with God, sometimes it helps you as human. And then when you have a good understanding, you should be asking questions. So why is this happening? You need God to open your eyes to be able to see. So as I begin to ask questions, I realized, look, it seems as if there's no way here. And I said, okay, let me apply to banking. So at least I can get something doing. That was even why I applied. Get something doing. Not knowing that I'm going to, but I knew that while I'm doing that, I'm going to use the money to fund something else I plan to do at that time. But right there inside banking, I discovered what I want to do. I didn't even know how much that would have led me until I started the journey. So unfortunately for human beings, sometimes, someone said there's a difference between stubbornness and perseverance. Stubbornness, doing the same thing, the same way, and expecting a different result. Stubbornness. You have done it this way, it didn't work. You come back and do it again. You go and pray, come back and do it again. Perseverance, you do it, it didn't work. You now look at what you did before, you now come and do the same thing in a different way. And by the time you try different thing, you will not be able to get the result. That's perseverance. But when you are doing the same thing the same way, that's foolishness. So people are foolish in doing the same thing, and expecting a different result, thinking it will change. It won't change. I cannot overemphasize. That's why this program is life calling and career claiming. I cannot overemphasize the place of discovery. I think each time I talk to human beings, I just realize many people are just existing. They are not living. They are existing, just living. They are existing on earth, feeding the flesh, growing old. They are not living because they are not being fruitful and being a blessing and creating value on the earth.
But even that, I feel like you really cannot blame them, because in Nigeria, for example, I was just thinking about
Nigeria out of it. Leave Nigeria out.
That's where we are.
If there are people in Nigeria that are able to get it right, if there are people in Nigeria that can get it right, and they are in similar situation, they just look. In this country, if you, as human being in general, not even in this country, it's not a matter of Nigeria now. This happened to, there are people in America that are in this situation. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Nigeria? There are people in America that are in this situation of this guy.
No, the odds in America, you don't have to worry about food, about some certain things. But Nigeria, their stacks all
That
against you.
is,
Even
but
the
the
boy of
Christ said,
electricity alone.
but Christ said his body no more than his life no more than food and body no more than raiment. Why is food more important to you?
But you have to survive first before you can even make impact. It's
You know,
not when you are home.
immediately you think that way, then you throw away impact and follow survivor, unknowing to you that it is impact that will bring the survivor result for you.
How that's hard. I don't know.
It's hard, but that's the reality. So if you are in school, you finish NYSC, you're already having the right thinking. Because let me tell you, every one of us, we have opportunity in life. That's what I discovered. But not all of us will discover the opportunity. Every one of us, we have opportunity, as in, no matter how minute the opportunity is. Maybe you saw a CD, you saw a video, you saw a seminar, you saw opportunity, but you choose not to listen, or you listen and choose not to do what he learned. That's the situation we are in as humans. On the Life Calling and Career Clean platform, there are so many people there that have attended this program one or twice. A number of them are not able to make it for one reason or the other. It's a choice they make. It's a choice, but they're on the platform. This information is being passed. They're on the platform. This information is being passed. So that's opportunity they have. 1 minute, please. Where was I, please? Hello, can you hear me?
I think you. Yes, we can.
Okay.
But saying everyone has opportunity in life, no matter how minute.
Thank
it's not
you.
about
Everyone have opportunity. It's the one we make of it.
But sometimes,
yes, go ahead.
the opportunity may not interest you.
That's it now.
People can say,
it being interesting to you now is not now the fault of providence. It's you that is not interesting to, but you have the opportunity. That's the reality. You guys probably saw this flyer somewhere or whatever it is, and you are here, and you have been coming here. Do you understand? All of us, we have this opportunity in life, but there are people who have heard about it who are not coming. And I don't blame them for it. Many of them have good reason why they're not able to. But the fact is that some of the information we are discussing and being passed across, at least they have access to the link also. So even if they are busy, they can still go and listen to it. If they have the link, they don't go and listen to it, you can't blame anybody. The issue is, that's why whatever I do, most of the things I'm not doing it for today. I'm doing it for legacy and for the future. When people call me, like, what's the name of this? Someone is here now that just joined us, Samuel. Samuel asked me a question about something. You know what I did? I just went to one of the playlists on the SoundCloud, drop it for him. So I won't be repeating myself again, because now I have this information available online for future generation, for other people in future. So when I meet people and they say, oh, I want to do business, I want to do this, I have a challenge here. If it's something we have discussed already, I just give them the link. Just go and listen to the link, then let's have conversation, then I'll be able to help. Why? Because I've already had this conversation already. There's no point repeating myself. Because it's already available. It's a public knowledge available to everybody already. So the opportunity is available to people. But one way or the other, somehow, we choose not to. And some of them will say, you are still doing this program since COVID. You are very resilient. When you have a vision, your vision moves you. For me, it's not about the number. Even if nobody show up, I will do it and it will be recorded. Last week, only one person was around. It's the vision. So that this opportunity will be available. So those that are supposed to listen to it tomorrow, who have access to me, who never listen, or who never ask, or who never go to listen even when I send it to them, they won't be able to. Now, God has made that opportunity available to them. All of us, directly, indirectly, somehow, we will all have opportunity to access this information. Indirectly, indirectly. There's a way that God just make it happen. All of us in life, what we make of the opportunity is what becomes important. If it doesn't interest you, you can't blame anybody for it. You know? All right, any other question or comment, please?
No. Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, okay, I understand this scenario about. I'm just talking about like when you're out of school and like up there are stuff that you can do. But I'm just feeling like it's not some. This one is, for example, this one is not even like. This one is just like information that will like transform your mind. But I'm talking about like opportunities in terms of like maybe let's say jobs or in terms of let's say entrepreneurship. There's
Opportunity
something
will
that
always come now. When you say opportunity in terms of job, people are still getting job in Nigeria
no,
now.
I'm saying that some things may come across the but you may not just be interested in them. Is it every? Are you saying that is every opportunity that we should jump at?
No. When you
When
say
you're starting out,
something will come and you're not interested in them, why are you not interested in it? If it's going to impact your life and make you better, why are you not interested in it? That means there's, let me tell you, a number of us have been conditioned in a particular way by the kind of information we're exposed to growing up. So naturally in Africa, we are not interested in knowledge. Knowledge is not something we are passionate about. So we really are not excited at knowledge as Africans. But that is what has made us to be where we are today. The fact that we don't take knowledge seriously, we despise knowledge, is exactly why Africa is where Africa is today, my brother. So if I have the wrong disposition to knowledge, I'm going to make a choice. So don't try to explain it away. All I know is that all of us have opportunity in life. What we make of it is what the difference we have in us. That's difference in us.
okay.
Now, the advantage you should not have as a Christian is if you read the Bible and you understand how the Bible emphasizes wisdom, that you should cherish wisdom, you should court wisdom, it should be your friend, you should live with wisdom. If you see the way the Bible talks about in Proverbs and you still despise knowledge and wisdom, something is wrong with you. Because for those that are not exposed to the Bible, I can understand. But if you're exposed to the Bible as a Christian, and the way the Bible talks about wisdom and understanding the book of Proverbs, and you still don't obey, who will you blame for that? Because all the opportunity you're talking about, the only way you will see it, the only way you will recognize it, the only way you know it, the only way you will take advantage of it is because you know, you have knowledge. You have skill. That's the only way you can take advantage of it. So you see,
so talking about,
go ahead.
you're talking about the Bible. I will say that sometimes even the Bible too is not, even though it's written in English, it's one thing to read, it's another thing to understand, it's another thing to be able to draw out lessons from it. And I think it's actually a skill. And it's not everybody that's
No. Go to Proverbs and see what the Bible say about what you should do with knowledge and wisdom in the book of Proverbs. You didn't see what the Bible says you should do about knowledge and wisdom in the book of Proverbs. It said, look at this. Hear ye, my children, instruction of thy father, and know the understanding. For I give you good doctrine, forsake not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, let thy heart retain my word. Keep my commandment and live. Get wisdom. Get understanding. Forget it not. Neither decline the word of my mouth. Forsake her not. Don't forsake wisdom. Forsake her not. She shall preserve thee. Love her. She shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. In order to get the God understanding, you are reading that, you are saying you don't understand it. What are you talking about? You don't understand what that means? That means you don't believe the Bible. Then you are not supposed to be a believer. You're not supposed to be a Christian. He said, look, wisdom is the principal thing. He said, exhort her and she shall promote thee. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Exhort her and she shall promote thee. Whenever the Bible talks about wisdom, you can replace it with skill. Whenever you talk about wisdom, you can replace it with skill. It means shrewdness. It means prudence. It means skill. He said, acquire skill. Exalt it. If you exalt skill, it will promote you. He said, she shall give you honor. Hey. When I embrace it, and someone is telling me doesn't know what that means, sorry, you don't need an interpreter on this one. You don't need an interpreter. So for Christian, I don't even have any apology. That one is complete foolishness. He's not reading the Bible, doesn't believe in the Bible, or doesn't practice the Bible. Because there are many unbelieving believers. That's why I said this series is supposed to make you see Bible as a book, not a religious book, but manual for life. Manual for life. Look, you can't joke with knowledge. You can't look. You cannot joke with it. At any point in time in your life, you must be learning something. I've done my master, finished my PhD. Do you know what I'm doing now? I'm learning French. And I'm going to learn that for the next 6 months. Yes, I'm learning French. I want to be able to teach in French. I want to be able to do training in Francophone countries. And by God's grace, by the end of next year, I should be able to achieve that. At least by the end, in another 6 months, I should be able to be fluent in French. At least 30 minutes to 1 hour every day, I have a French class in my house. The teacher comes to my house every day. Why? Learning. Knowledge. Learn. What are you talking about? You cannot stop learning.
I want to learn French too, by the way.
Is that what? I said, you said I want to learn French. You can't, look, I'm just saying that, look, me, I don't joke with knowledge. No. I'm always listening to something. I'm always learning something. Why? Because I just realized it has given me a lot of opportunity in life. It has given me platform. I've achieved what I can. Things I could not even imagine could have happened. So I don't joke with it. But that's exactly what the Bible says. He said, embrace her. It will promote you. She shall give, he said, she shall bring honor to you. When you exalt her, it will promote you. When you exalt her, it will bring honor to you. When you embrace her, he said, she shall give thy head an ornament of grace. A crown of glory shall it deliver to thee. Proverbs chapter 4. Oh my God. Christians, something is wrong with us. Something is wrong. We're not reading the Bible. We're not practicing. Unbelievers are practicing the Bible more than us. The principles of the Bible. Go ahead.
So I want to say that, okay, like, for example now, okay, are you saying like Proverb contains all the necessary information we need to scale up our life? Because I'm like, okay, some things are
you want to be great in life, you want to perform excellently, you want to live a meaningful and impactful life, you want to grow in your career, read Proverb a chapter every day. Read a chapter every day for 30 days, repeat it again. Every day for 30 days, repeat it again. Every day for 30 days. If you do that for a year, your mind will blow. Every day. Read it. Don't read it in the King James. So go and look for New Living Translation, Amplified Bible. Read it in modern English. One chapter a day for 30 days, do it for a year. Your mind will blow. What are you talking about? People are applying it in their businesses. You are very correct, Samuel. They are applying it. People are applying it.
Sir, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Talking about like, I want to take us back to talking about like opportunities. I want to ask that, like, what made you change from physiology to banking? Because I'm wondering that how did you?
No. When effort, I wanted to do medicine now. Physiology was, that's why I said, that's why you need to be. It's good to be spiritual. It's good to be given to thinking. When I saw the trajectory of all the effort I've made as a young man, and I saw blockade, I'm a Christian. I know God loves me. If these are happening, it's a sign that maybe this is not a way for me to go. So I have to look elsewhere completely and forget about this one, that all effort is just being blocked. So when I was in year 1 in a medical school, 200 level, I do tutorial for all medical students. Some of the medical students, when we got to year 3 and we had to separate and we're not doing anatomy and physiology together and biochemistry again, so there are ladies in my tutorial that were crying when they were shocked, when they heard I was not in medicine. I felt embarrassed myself because I'm the one doing tutorial for them. But here is me in physiology. They are the one doing medicine. I'm the one teaching them. So when I see everything just show that, look, guy, you're not supposed to be here, man. You're not supposed to be. I narrowly missed first class. At the beginning of year 3, No, end of year 3, I had 4.91. But I failed the course that made me not to make 4 class eventually. I end up with 2.1. Why? It's the same thing. God ensure everything around me, ensure I do, because if I had made the first class, I would have been a lecturer. Because I like teaching anyway. I would have ended up in physiology. Miserable life as a lecturer. See, they are on strike. I saw one in Ikeja just last week, Saturday. The lecturer in Unilag, she begged me for transport. She was stranded. I gave her 1,000 naira. She was shocked.
Wow.
She was stranded. And she told me, Guy, I'm a lecturer, but you know, they've not paid us for many months. I don't know where he came to do in that place. Somehow, they didn't have enough money to even go back home. Miserable. But that's what I would have done. And all I'm doing in my field today will have been, I will not be able to. But God cannot be stranded. Someone else will do it anyway.
So I'm saying that upon graduation, how did you make that shift? How did you go to banking? Because
when I graduated and I applied to UI and Unilag for direct entry and everything was working against me, like I said, I was in learning before coming to Unilag. I didn't get medicine when I came to Unilag. When I came to Unilag, I didn't get medicine. I did physiology. When I finished physiology, I still apply again direct entry in learning and UI and Unilag. It didn't work again with all the effort, with all the people I knew. So I had to begin to write, go and begin to apply to bank, to write tests for bank now. Change my field completely.
No, I'm asking that, why did you choose bank? Why did you?
I didn't choose bank. I choose what was available to me. I wanted to change my field completely. So I knew it was going to be management. I was already doing IT, but somehow IT was not going the way I wanted it. So when I got a job in the bank, I went into management immediately. And from there, I went into international trade, which is what I do today.
So, sir, I said that once someone is stranded, someone does not have a clear idea of what to do, someone should just go with what's available.
Yes, but don't lose sight. When you discover yourself, that's what I said. Then I knew that one thing about me was that anything I would do in life, I must speak, I must teach, I must trade. So it doesn't matter if I'm in banking, it doesn't matter if I'm in medicine, it doesn't matter if I'm in engineer, anything. I will be using that gift that make me happy, that make me come alive. So the reason why I went to banking is I knew that I could use my gifts there. So that's what is important. Discover yourself. So look at the field where you can use it. If this one is not working, go to another one, but you're using the gift.
So, sir, I want to say, like, since like you chase medicine from pre-degree and I was from
pre-degree,
like before
degree to post-degree.
Yes, like I'm like, that means medicine was some sort of like a passion to you.
It wasn't.
Like,
it wasn't my passion. What passion is that one?
So
it wasn't my passion. My parents wanted me to do medicine. What are you talking about? It wasn't my passion. I already knew if I do medicine, I knew I was going to lecture pathology. I already made up my mind. I was going to be a lecturer and I was going to lecture pathology. It's lecturing, teaching that was my passion, not medicine. It doesn't matter the field. But because I love anatomy, and because if I'm a doctor, I won't be able to teach. I don't want to come back and teach anatomy. I'd rather teach clinical. So I want to teach pathology.
So parents, okay. Because what we say someone that is writing jam that wants to be a doctor and has written, because I know of an example of someone that
that is foolishness. Anyone that writes jam more than once is absolute foolishness. Anybody around me, I'm telling you, anybody around me, I tell them, if they give you Yoruba, take it. If they give you English, take it. They give you French, take it. They give you zoology, take it. They give you botany, take it. They give you math, take it. Any course they give you, take it and go and write jam while you're in the university. Don't stay at home and be writing jam. I know friends who, there was a lady who was doing marine biology and fishery. We're together, we did jam together. When I got physiology, he got marine biology and fishery. He took it. While he was doing marine biology and fishery, you know, when you're in uni, year one, you'll be reading. You're among students. But you are now doing A-level stuff. And JAM is
not O level, it's above O level, almost A level. So it makes it easier to pass JAM. This lady went to write JAM while he was in year 1. Today he's a doctor because he became my junior colleague. When I was in year 2 in medical school, he was in year 1. But he didn't stay at home. Why would you stay at home? It's foolishness. So when you now do that JAM, if you are not getting it, you'll be promoted. Now you keep growing in your academics. If you don't get JAM, when you finish, you go and do something else with your life rather than staying at home doing nothing and staying on. I have friends who stay at home for 5 years doing JAM. They got the medicine in year 2, year 3. They got to clean. They hated medicine. Something they waited for 5 years. They hated it in the clinic because they just realized it's useless. No equipment, no this, no that. They hated blood. They hated the patient, hated the children. But they didn't know that until they find themselves in the clinic. But they've waited 5 years writing JAM. What kind of life is that? I had friends who today is a chief financial officer in a bank. We were classmates. He studied medicine. Immediately he finished medicine, he went to do ACCA. He was dusting them in ACCA class. He was reading with them passion of medical school. He was dusting them ACCA class. This guy does not go for lecture. He only go to the lab in medical school and go to the clinic. He doesn't go for lecture. He will copy, he will make photocopy of notes, make photocopy of past questions, and he will pass. 50, 60, 55, he will pass. Collins, he will pass. Immediately he finished, just dropped the certificate at home, went to start enrolling for ACCA. He dusted all the accountants in an ACCA class, even as a medical student. Today he's a chartered accountant. He went to.
So why did you do medicine in this place?
He said what? Parents.
Like, why did you study
parents? Is he the one that will pay his school fees? Is his parent now? His parent.
All right, sir. So one last question. Someone said that talking about the creation of man, like if we believe that the digestive system, respiratory system, and all other system in the body was a divine or was pure brilliance from God,
Was
then why
pure
is it
what?
that like is like it's pure genius from God, like how man was made, like how our body operates, like the whole system of the body, the respiratory, cardiopulmonary, and how the body generally function, how man generally function alive. So someone asked that if it was a master class, if it was a if it's something of a, let's say, if it was pure intelligence or pure brilliance from God, then why would the same God now make the female and they have to go through like every month several episodes of pain? How do you explain that?
Which pain?
If God,
Which pain is that?
the menstrual pain and the
It's not everybody that is painful to. It's not everybody that is painful to. It's not everybody that is painful. Some are painful, some don't even feel any pain. It's not everybody that is painful to. Body differs. So it's not a pain. It's a cycle put in place for pregnancy. It's a cycle put in place for pregnancy. But body differs. So some people have pain, some don't even have pain at all.
But many have pain. It's because on Twitter, I'm always seeing stuff about that.
Not everyone have pain. I'm telling you, the way people use their body, the kind of thing they eat contribute to the kind of pain they have. Not everybody have pain. So what will you say about childbirth? So what's the issue you have with the pain? Let's even have everybody have pain. What's the issue with that?
Yes, and why would God make man go through pain? Something I have to like just.
That's the challenge we have as human. That's the challenge of human. Why will God make you to go through pain? This is a necessity for you to be able to have your own child. You are saying, why will God make you to go through pain? So cut yourself with blade. Hold on now. Cut yourself with blade and saying, why do you have to go through pain of cutting yourself with blade?
That's different now, because
you're a medical student. You know what happened? The endometrial wall is eroded. There is a contraction.
Yes, I understand. But
so what I'm trying to say is that this process, this is a natural process that creates pain. I don't know. Then you should, as I said, you have that question. The person you ask that question, then childbirth should not have pain. Then you don't understand the principle of God. You don't understand the issue about. What
No,
we
it's
say about
actually an atheist that
childbirth?
says
Childbirth should not have pain also. Because it's the same principle now. Do you understand what I
yes,
mean?
because that one is that one's like
Don't
is
say
like
it's
a course
different.
now.
No, don't say it's different. Oh. The same reason you are saying this should not create pain, that one should not create pain. No. Don't say it's different. Oh.
No, what I'm saying that one is because it's in the Bible that God said that they will through God because of the course of after man fell in the Garden of Eden, that God said if we travel in childbirth and like because no the issue is about it, because the person that I said is not a Christian because I saw it on Twitter. The person is more or less an atheist, something like that. And I was saying that why
His question, the first question, the first thing there, if he's an atheist, then that means he believes in something being good and bad. So he believes pain is bad. So that means he believes in something being good and something being evil. So what dictates what is good and evil? That argument is self-defeating already. Because if you believe in something good and something bad, that means you believe in moral law. If you believe in moral law, then you must believe in moral lawgiver. Who is the moral lawgiver? Who is the moral lawgiver? But for me, those are, number one, not everybody have pain, number one. Number two, there are ways you can live your life. There are food you can expose yourself to. There are things you can do that will prevent that pain entirely from happening to you. Because if you understand the physiology of pain, you understand why you could have avoided pain. But let's assume people don't even understand their body that they went through pain. It's a physiological process that is supposed to create a childbirth, but because there was no fertilization of the egg, the endometrium, which was prepared for fertilization, was eroded. So it's a system put in place to ensure that if egg come in, it will create implantation and of the fetus at the end of the day. But now, to create another cycle, that endometrium had to be eroded. That is genius. What me I see there is genius. If the person is seeing the pain and the people is seeing, you say what?
Like, why must it be painful? Why must
Let me give you.
people
Hold on now. Do you have milk teeth that is removed? Does it create pain? Why should it create pain? Why should it create pain?
I don't know.
No, now, because someone is for me, it's a very, very blind argument. The argument is baseless. Because there are so many physiological processes in your body. Pain pain always draw your attention to something happening. In fact, for some ladies, but for the pain, they won't even know their message is coming. Maybe they will have been spotted outside and mess up their seat, but because now the pain made them to know, oh, something is coming, they will go and get themselves ready for it. What are you talking about? You're not even looking at the positive part of the pain on them. You're looking at the negative because you want to discredit what God has done. Very baseless argument, I must say. Very baseless argument. But of course, you expect that from atheists anyway. I mean, their argument is always self-defeating. I'll come back to you. I saw the hand of Motrayo. Victoria, good evening. Motrayo is not there. Okay, I can't hear you.
Living like our parents. So I want to ask, how can we not live like our parents?
Sorry, how can we not live like our parents?
Observe that in the sense that, we have received the training from them. I've received the training from my parents, and I realize I tend to train others in that way. But I now see that it's not the proper training. Like, it can be better. It can be more. It can be less of It can be less. It can be it's. Let's just assume like a child now, with respect to a child now, instead of using the cane or shouting at a child, learning that you can actually communicate rather than having to do something.
Yes, I really beat my son, and he's 6 years old. Really. Yes, go ahead.
So how were you able to, I know it must have taken...
No, because I know that there's a better way now, and I learn it. I learned that I need to find a way to... Just go and learn. Just go and learn. Number one, you must know that you have a wrong philosophy or ideology on that area and go and learn it. I know you can raise, in every child there is an Osama bin Laden and there is a Barack Obama in every child. The one you speak to is the one that responds to you. If you speak to the Osama in the child, he will respond with the Osama. If you speak to the Barack Obama will come out of him. There's nothing like a stubborn child. It's only ignorance parent. It's only ignorance parent, not understanding that a child will behave like a child. And that the child needs to be corrected, not to be disciplined, corrected. He should know why. He will ask why. If you tell my son to do this, say why? And I try to explain to him why. If he doesn't listen, I will withdraw privileges from him. When I withdraw privileges, he wants that privilege, he will act right.
So, sir, how was it for you having to learn this? Because sometimes I've already shouted or I've already beat him. I've already beat my nephew before I realize that.
Your default will always come out. Even me, my default will come out. But immediately I do that, just come to myself that, come, why are you shouting? I mean, does that make any difference? So that's a default. You have been programmed, it will come out. But your consciousness make you to restore back. So sometimes I will hold, today I've held Cain today, but I didn't beat. It's just to call him to order. Yeah, no, I won't beat. But I know if I hold it, he will call him to order. But I won't beat because I don't like beating. I don't like it. I feel if you inflict pain and I can communicate and I've seen that it's effective. If I need to get him to do something, sometimes if I create something that will make him to want to, so for example, he doesn't want to eat his food. I say, okay, fine. You want to play with your iPad? No iPad for you if you don't eat your food. I will use the iPad. If you need the food, if you need the iPad, he will finish the food.
Very fast.
Do you understand? So withdraw privileges. Just withdraw privileges.
Okay. So my second question, sir, sorry. Please.
Yes.
Is when you were talking about your physiology, banking, I've heard you say this before.
Yes.
I want to ask, when should we live? When you say we should live intentionally rather than living like based on happenstance, I want to understand. I see your story and I see how much mercy God has shown you and how everything actually, despite the fact that you may not have even known exactly where you were headed at some point. But
you don't need to know.
Was
you don't need to know, trial. You don't need to know. You don't need to know. Let me tell you. Look, there's something we don't understand about God. There's something you don't understand about God, particularly when you're a child of God. There's a scripture my mentor read for me some time ago. It's in the book of Isaiah. And it said, and an highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those wayfaring men, though fools, they shall not err therein. Though fools, they shall not err therein. Though fools, so if I take a decision sincerely, I know my life is about living to please God, to glorify his name, to fulfill my calling and purpose on earth, to be a blessing to human beings. So when I take this decision, I took it sincerely. Even though it's a foolish decision, it will work together for my good. Don't worry about that. Just ensure you are living, you are not taking that decision because of what to eat and what to drink. You are living intentionally. So and when you are doing it, you sincerely believe this is what your life should be about. And you are not doing it, you are doing it because you really want to be a blessing on the earth and create value. And I say you really want, not about you, but it was a foolish decision. But you did it sincerely. Don't worry. It will work together for your good. Don't worry about the challenge is that we worry about what we should not worry about. Take the decision first and see what happens afterwards.
Okay. Because I observe that,
Because if you worry about it, you won't do anything. Always careful. I don't want to make mistake. I don't want to make mistake. Make the mistake. Make the mistake. Mistake will not kill you. Make the mistake.
Then you said something about opportunities. Everyone will have an opportunity.
They will have that chance. I believe strongly that everybody will have a chance. Everybody. Some have more than the
It's
other.
left,
Anyway, some have more than the other. Go ahead. What's your question?
so it's left for us to use it. I remember sometimes last year during the during the COVID-19, different groups were coming up, and like, I mean, online platforms, WhatsApp, we're having more groups, and then I joined a number of them, and I had the opportunity of joining one. But when I saw the way they operate in the group, I because I had a friend that had already joined the group, and I felt, oh, it's good. Like, I would also like to be a part of it. So I even told
You
her
say
to
you saw
send
the way they
me how
operate.
to go
What
about it.
happened? You don't like the way they operate.
Yes.
What happened?
The thing is, I was already on a number of groups already, so I didn't want to overburden myself, and I also thought that I may not need to go through that part. I mean, it's a kind of training, not really a training, but it's a woman that is in charge of it, and then she has different people that are on the group. It's just a time of, when you mentioned knowledge and wisdom today, my mind went back to it, because it's actually an opportunity to know about different areas of life, emotional, spiritual.
So what don't you like about it? What don't you like about it?
I just thought that I had the number of things I was already into already. I should not
Okay.
get into it.
Okay.
And another thing that scared me was 1 month fasting that they used to do every year. So, and the way they used to pray too,
Why? Why are they doing 1
repelled
month
me.
fasting?
They pray about different things. They lift up one another's burdens to God in prayers, and I saw the way they used to pray, and you pray on everybody, you pray on the person's need like you're praying on your need, and it's really good. But I felt, for me, I did not join. So when you mentioned everybody has an opportunity in life, making me to think that, okay, those that join the group, are they going to have better opportunities than me, or that the fact that I did not respond to that opportunity that time,
what they are doing there, does it align with what you want your life to be like? If it doesn't,
basically it's about gaining knowledge, wisdom about different areas of life. No, now you have maybe on Monday you may talk about spiritual, Tuesday, let's say emotional, but kind of all round awesome living. Anyways, we all may have access to that at one point or another. But I don't want it to be that I'm starving myself of maybe an opportunity. And
so you have to assess yourself and see, is there a deficiency in an area that you could have benefited from it? If it is, then join. If not, then look for other group.
Okay. And at this point, sir, I want to just say it now. I've observed that it's there is enough already. Like, there's enough of things, as in I've received a lot of things, and those things I'm realizing that there are question marks on them. And it's making me to just want to just shut down on those things and just rearrange things in my mind, what I really want to do, what I want to work with. Like, I was listening to Praise Forward now.
Okay.
Was it not during the week? Did I reach out to you? Actually, I wanted to talk about it, but I decided to not talk about it. Did I reach out to you? During the week.
Okay.
He mentioned, he said some things about even defining who a woman is, who a man is, and what the fact that not everybody that wants to eat must be able to cook. And I saw that these were things that I did not know about. These were things that if I say it's like saying I don't even know myself. Like, I don't even know if I say I'm a woman, I don't even know the definition of who a woman is, like who I am. So it got me thinking, and it's like, what have I been believing? What have I been listening to? What do I, if I really want to make it in life, like
what of the things we listen to are garbage and rubbish. Most of the things people listen to are garbage and rubbish.
Well, even when Victor was talking about it,
even in religious organization. Because if I'm a man,
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm a man, I don't know why I'm a man. I don't know what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman.
Yes.
What it means to be a parent.
Yes.
How do you function? What is that basic thing you should know?
Yes. So when he was talking, he was like, I'm like, somebody shaking tables like Dr. Daly, like this is you have mentioned Praise Forward before. Yes. So even when Victor was talking about interpretation of the Bible, I understand what he's trying to say. Because when you have been under administration for a long time, there's a way I already understand what this verse is saying. You get, so when he's saying that maybe you need some skills, or it's like take skills to interpret the Bible.
That thing is a big problem. That's why sometimes let me tell you, that's why sometimes you need to dilute your source of information about the Bible. And you need to dilute it in a way that you have 70-30, 60-40, not 50-50. So you can have a balanced view. Balanced view. If you belong to an assembly and you listen everything you know about the Bible from that assembly, you won't have a balanced view. You will have a view as defined by the person you are listening to. And always remember, their biases will be there. Their bias, there's nothing you can do about that. Their biases will be there. And sometimes the biases might not help you. So for example, some people believe you must pray with water because they are from CAC. Right?
Yes, sir.
Water is critical. That's a bias right there. That's not what the Bible says. But does not make it wrong. It doesn't make it wrong. Someone, not that you have done something wrong, but don't say that is the way it should be done. As if that's the only way. That's a bias right there because of the environment. And that happens subtly in other areas that you don't even know. But when you hear and see someone else's perspective, you have a balanced view. That's why the Berean Christians, the Bible says they go back to see whether those things were so. Many believers don't go back to check. How do you go back to check? Check from other people's perspective now. What are other people saying about this thing? Are you sure this thing is correct? So you need to do 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, or 90-10, not 50-50. So you can dilute. So you can begin to see the same scripture you have seen in another light based on other interpretation.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate this. Thank you, sir.
All right. Samuel. Victor, he said, do you separate biases of a preacher and when a preacher is speaking and the express will of God? You might not even know that is a bias. You know, sometimes, Victor, the person we talk sometimes, let me give you an example. Do you know some churches have a committee that help in the area of marriage? And if you are in that church, and it's not just Deeper Life that have this, some other churches also have it. And if you are in that church and you don't go to that committee, they believe you have committed sin. That's a bias right there. That's a bias right there. So what happens if you are not a member of that church? Or if you are there and you decided that you want to marry from somewhere else? It's your decision, it's your life. You choose the way you want to marry. Even the white wedding is a bias. Who told us white wedding is English culture now? It's not our culture. It's English culture. Our own culture is the traditional. Then by law, you do the court and you're fine. You don't need to go to a building and say you want to do white wedding. Well, that's not your culture. That's the Western culture they brought to us. But we now rank that higher than the traditional, than the court. That's a bias right there. So you might not even see the bias if you don't know, if you yourself don't read the Bible, you won't see that bias. That's why everybody believes their own view is the best. If you think your own view is the best, something is wrong with you. You can never. Whoever you are listening to is listening to someone else. Whoever you are listening to is learning from someone else. So how can he be the only one or be the best when he also listens to someone else? Because he must be fair to feed others. So to separate that bias, you yourself must see other opinions. That's the only way. Either by virtue of you studying yourself or hearing from someone else. But you must see other opinion to be able to solve that issue of bias in the interpretation of the people. Samuel, good evening. How are you? Any question or comment for me today? Sam Show Global.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Very well, sir. Thank God. Well, firstly, I don't have any question. I actually just have some comments.
Go ahead.
Number one is appreciation, to say thank you, sir, for always taking out the time to educate us and bring all these things to our knowledge. All right. And number two is, I won't lie, when it comes to this Bible issue, I think I've been biased. Very, very much
you don't
biased.
have a choice. You'll be biased because of your environment.
Yes, and it has really affected me. Even the way I apply the Bible to life.
Yeah.
Got to a time I started seeing Christianity as prison, not as freedom. I saw it as
you have been conditioned and programmed.
But I think this is now like re-educating myself. I should learn to have an open mind, be unbiased. Like you said, never 50-50. Either 90-10, 80-20, 70-30 in my when it comes to studying the Word of God and learning basically about the Bible. And I've also gotten to see that the Bible is not just an instruction or basically a manual to get to heaven, but actually is a manual for living here on earth, because we've not lived before.
Yes.
So we need to learn how to live and all. So thank you very much, sir, for always taking out the time to, even though I know, especially Misha, I know that one, I'm not consistent, I know. But I know I have proof. I know I have that mind. And I keep thinking and trying to see how I can be better. But it is well. We'll get there.
Samuel Malik, good evening. Samuel Malik, are you there?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, well done.
Good evening.
God bless you. You are doing a great job. I've been away for some time, and I even came late this night. But at least I've gained one or two things there. Then the question I wish to ask is this.
Okay.
Now you have a plan. You didn't discover your purpose on time.
Yes.
Okay. So now you are getting to, maybe you are getting older.
Yes.
And let's say, for example, you are getting to 50.
Okay.
Now you now discover your purpose one way or the other. But it's like it's difficult for you to achieve it now because that purpose will revolve around finance. For example, you are interested in doing work for God, but not, you will be involved, but you prefer to use people, like some people that volunteer, that wanted to do work for God, but they are having challenges, maybe financial challenges, accommodation challenges, and you have seen the potential in these people that if this financial and accommodation can be taken up, then these are the people that are dedicated and committed. But what to eat, what to drink is drawing them back. So you want to fill that gap for them. Maybe you put them on the salary scale. Okay, so this is your interest, this is your focus. Okay, go ahead. Since you say you want to work for God, do anything. Okay, I'll pay you so amount of money to take care of your family where you focus directly working for God. But you yourself, that you discover you are not financial buoyant, but you feel like that is your calling. So how can you manage that kind of situation and circumstances?
Now,
how can you manage it?
Now, by thinking that you have to be the one to provide that money, I think it's a wrong way to think. It's not a good way to think.
Okay.
And then number two, and thinking that I need the physical cash, and I need to have that physical cash to be able to help. I don't think it would be a good way to go. So if I believe I'm called to support missionaries, I love what they do. I know they have what it takes. I don't have what it takes, but I believe I want to support them to do what they'd love to do, but they don't have the finance. So what I should do is to go and think, strategize, pray, to see how I can set up a group, an NGO, an organization that will fund them. Then I will begin to look at the fact that my credibility is money, my character is money, my relationship and associate is money, my competence is money, and that I can leverage on relationship, bringing together like minds. So let's say, for example, I need to raise 100K for these people every month to be able to do what they need to do. If I raise 20 people that will give me 5,000 every month, I will do that insufficiently. And 5K is something that many people will gladly give if they know this what you're going to do with it. So I don't think you should, because if God put it in your heart, it's because you really can do it. And that's a good passion you have in your mind. But thinking that you have to be the one to do it, I don't think is the way to go. Because by the time you do that, you over-labor yourself. But there are other people that, as God is putting in your mind, there are people that can be partners in that project who will gladly do it. There is a church in Surulere that they feed people every day. 10 a.m., people queue up in front of that church every day, at least during the weekday. I don't know if Wednesday and Sunday. Number one, that kind of church, of course, you don't need to be doing evangelism. People go there and rush there. But there are people in that church that contribute a particular amount every month that is used to fund a kitchen that provides food, maybe for 50 or 100 people every day. So if we build a system around raising that fund, we'll raise the fund. Just build a system around it. What's the budget?
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you've mentioned what is in my mind.
Okay.
Thinking of an NGO.
Yes.
But in fact, I've been thinking of the NGO keep coming to my mind. But how to go about that?
No, talk to lawyer. Talk to lawyer. Look for lawyer friends. They will help you. Just look for lawyer friends.
Okay.
Lawyer friends, they will help you.
A company was registered, but not NGO.
No, let it be an NGO. So the people that are funding know that this money is going to be used to do so and so, not for a business that want to make profit. So let it be an NGO.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fine. But do you have a recommended lawyer? Maybe someone you know.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have a lawyer. I have a lawyer, the lawyer that worked with me, that I use in the company I run. Yes.
Okay, so how will I get the detail?
I would drop my number. Do you have my number?
I have your number.
And so you can chat me. I'll drop his number for you.
All right. I have that 365. Yeah,
365-22946.
Okay, 365. I don't know if that one I have.
365.
365.
22946.
Okay. 22946.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, sir.
No, it's not complete. 365-22946.
46, yes. 080-365-22946.
All right, sir.
All right.
So I appreciate, sir. God
Thank
bless
you very much, sir. Yeah.
You are doing a great job.
Thank you,
and
sir.
God will continue to strengthen you, to empower you.
Thank you, sir. Victor,
so many people are looking out for you. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Victor, you still have a question?
Yes, sir. Just something. Okay, like talking about what the I don't know, I can't remember. I think Moturayo said about interpretation and biases. I'm thinking I'm having the opinion I'm like, even when a preacher is even preaching normally, if I'm even talking about maybe bylaws, I'm talking about when a preacher is preaching or interpreting a particular scripture. Many times, how do you know if this person is actually speaking under the influence of the Holy Ghost, and when he's speaking out?
Why are you interested? Why are you interested if he's speaking under the influence of the Holy Ghost? Why are you interested?
So you know if what he's saying is either his own idea or something.
Hold on. So that means if he's saying the wrong thing and it's under the influence of the Holy Ghost, you believe him.
No, of course not. Now it can't be wrong. Now,
no, how do you know? How do you know?
So
The
you can't.
best thing is to know it for yourself. That's the best. Know it for yourself. And this is so important because of our children, actually.
But someone can be sincerely wrong, because sometimes when
That's
people are
exactly
saying,
the
okay,
reason why you should know it for yourself. That's exactly the reason why. The fact that the person is doing it sincerely, but is sincerely wrong. That's exactly why you should know it for yourself.
but can't I be sincerely wrong myself too? In
That's
this,
why,
because
now,
everyone
hold on.
still have,
That's why you keep. That's why you keep reviewing what you believe. As you keep checking it, you know, one of the way you can know if what you believe or what the way you're living. That's why, number one, live based on principle. That's one thing I would strongly recommend for all of us. Let your life be based on principles. When you live life based on principle, the chance you'll be wrong is very slim. Not based on practice, no, principle. Not the practice. Principle. So, for example, Jesus fed 5,000 because they were hungry. The principle there is that Jesus is compassionate to help people in the situation. Does not mean you have to give food to everybody. The practice of that principle there is giving food. But the principle behind that is the compassion for people, loving people. So when you focus on the principle, not the practice, you won't be wrong. Because the principle can be adapted in different situations. So whatever you believe, look, the Bible says, do you notice that a number of even teaching of Jesus were based on questions they ask him? That's the reason why you must ask yourself questions. Question everything you believe. Question it. If you don't question it, you might just have believed a lie. Question it. If you don't question it, your children are going to ask you. Your children are going to ask you. And if you are not able to answer them, they're going to leave your faith. So questioning it helps you to strengthen your belief. So your belief is based on solid foundation, not based on weak and caprices of people. I don't know if I answered that question.
yes, okay. In terms of like Bible doctrine now, do you also live by? Can you also question that too? Do you also
When you say
question like
question, you are the one calling it doctrine. For me, I call them principle. I call them principle.
Okay. For example, now Lord's Supper now, for example, what principle is behind that? Or Holy Communion?
That is not. What will you say about a Christian who gave his life to Christ somewhere in Middle East and never have an opportunity to go to a forward of a church? What is his business with Lord's Supper? As good as it is, does that make any difference for him?
No, not really.
Different for him. So there's no, it's a practice. It's not a priest, it's a practice. And it was God telling us of what will happen at the marriage supper of the Lamb. So it's a practice, just making us remember what will happen eventually, or what he did with his disciples. It's just a practice. I don't know if
But he commanded it.
So if you are going to draw a principle out of that, it will be a principle of having a fellowship with him. That you're able to feed from him when you have a fellowship with him. That would be a better way to look at it, not the physical eating of the Lord's Supper. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Okay. Well, like, what about? Okay. I don't want to talk about practice. Let me talk about like all those like doctrines about, let's say, Trinity, eschatology, all those stuff. Like how
they are not consequential. It's good you know those things, but they're not consequential. It doesn't make any difference to you. You don't know about it, you know about it. What is critical is your relationship and fellowship with God and living the life of Christ. That is more important than knowing those things. Knowing them is not bad, but not knowing them is inconsequential on your relationship with God. So you are focusing.
So even if someone does not believe in Holy Ghost baptism, does not believe in sanctification, does not really matter.
There are Christians that don't believe in those things. It doesn't make them less a Christian as long as they are not living in sin. Look,
believers, different Christians see different things in the Bible and teach different things. Some Christians are convinced about that thing, and they are right. If someone says it's not convinced, that's okay. That's okay. Look, the issue is this. The whole essence of Christ's coming is to be able to ensure you live a life pleasing to him. If you are living that life pleasing to him, you are not living a life that is defective before him. That is more important. You believe in this, or you don't believe in this, or if you believe in it, it's good for you. It helps you. If you don't believe in it, there are people that don't believe in it. They don't even know about it in the first place. And sincerely, it doesn't make them less a Christian. If they believe Christ and they have the fruit of the Spirit manifesting in their life, because that is more critical. Do you know what Jesus said? He said, some people will come in that day, they will say, Lord, Lord, have you not prophesied in their name? We have cast out devils. He said, I don't know you. But he said, the one that give food to the hungry, that give clothes to the needy, that support the weak, that help the poor, he knows that one. He said that one is doing it for him. So, in as much as all these other things are great, they are not bad, but they are not the critical thing. Jesus himself said it. When the disciple came and they raised the sick, they healed the leper, he said, in this rejoice not. Rejoice that you have relationship with me. That should be, you should rejoice that your name is written down in heaven. They have relationship with me. That should be more important to you. So does not mean those things are not okay, they're not good. I'm only saying, just let principle guide your life. Anytime you are thinking of some of these things, always remember, there are Christians in Yemen, there are Christians in Saudi Arabia, there are Christians in Middle East. How are they living? Those are the things that will make you to shape that a number of things we do, not that they are bad, but they are because we're in an environment that permits it. If an environment where they can be useful, if you're in a country where everybody is fine, the health system is great, who will be talking about healing? Everybody is fine. Nobody's thinking of healing unless they encounter maybe cancer, which should be a part of the population. As good as those gifts are, they're very good. They're what we should covet as Christians. But I'm saying that there are environments where they are not useful at all. Nobody needs them. That is where the principle become important. So, for example, if someone tells me, why should I be a Christian? I should be able to tell him why he must be a Christian. If you tell him about heaven and hell, you're wasting your time because he doesn't believe it. But if you can tell him how living a life of Christ can make him become healthier, happier, joyful, peaceful, you will communicate better than telling him about heaven and hell. And by living that life, he will indirectly prepare for heaven at the end of the day, which is good. But don't let him accept Christ out of fear, because the same fear will fizzle out and he will go back to his vomit. Let the conversation be about the principle of what Christianity is all about. This will help make it easier for you to win a Muslim, to make it easier for you to win a Buddhist and win other people, because we are talking about principles that will help their lives. But these are principles taught by Christ. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yes, I understand. But I'm not saying, like, for example, okay, like what you said, believing this doctrine that they help. Does it not mean that someone that does not believe it or does not practice is missing out on some things? Does it make that person optimal? Because even in life, their growth is something that is important in everything that we do. So someone not having some understanding or does not having some belief, does it not make the person suboptimal? Or
it's not impossible. Like, if he doesn't believe in the gift of the Spirit, he won't be able to manifest the gift of the Spirit. It's not impossible. But that does not make him less a Christian. That does not make him less a Christian. But he won't be able to operate in that gift. So, of course, he will be suboptimal in the potential he could have achieved as a Christian. But it doesn't make him less a Christian.
So ultimately, does it not still hinder his lights being shine? Like, does it not hinder?
Because you think that gift that will make his life being shine. That's ministering gift. It's most people that are called into fivefold ministry are the ones that need those gifts. But there are other gifts. Gift of administration, There are other gifts, gift of speaking. There are other gifts that you can use to manifest your calling on the earth, depending on what you are called to do. Any other
Okay, sir.
question? So
Sir,
next,
okay, so
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, I was not speaking about the last the first time I was speaking. I was talking about like even the idea of pain. I was going to say like, okay, let's even assume that it was not stated in the Bible that the woman will go through pain in childbearing. If it was not stated, how do we now explain that God created people and they are going through just to have the same childbirth that does not take, that other animals does not, that they don't even know they are going through anything.
Who told you the animal does
In
not feel
child-
pain? Who told the animal does not feel pain? How do you know animal does not feel pain? Who told animal does not feel pain? Don't look at, look, I've told you about this principle of when you are looking at what God did, God always do what is necessary. And it's a lesson for us. So for example, if I'm going to give birth to something, if I'm going to birth a new idea, if I'm going to birth a great result, I need to travel through studying and hard work. So a woman is giving back to a child. He also traveled through labor. It's a principle for bringing anything new back to life on earth. It's not just in childbirth. When you want to read for exam and get good results, don't you read overnight? Are you not having a headache when you don't sleep well? That's pain. It's just a principle of life. If you are betting something great, you will go through labor pain. There's nothing you can do about that.
Great, sir. But like all these principles, like I don't know how do you I don't know. I think I've asked this question before, but I just feel like it's not something that is readily available. Like not many this information is scarce. Like it's not how do you see beyond how do you see the principle behind all this? It's not
okay.
It takes some
now you need to become first deliberate in reading the Bible. So as you read, be looking out for templates. When I say principle, I'm talking about template. Everything God do, He create a template for us. Template. When you think of template, it helps you. So when God was creating, let's go to Genesis. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. In the beginning, God created heaven, earth. In the beginning, beginning, time. God created heaven, space, earth, matter. And God said, let there be light. When you see the way God created the world, the sequence is so interesting. God said, let there be light. That's a principle right there. Because before then, He said the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And then God said, let there be light. That tells you that whenever I'm in a confusing situation, number one, look at the first principle there. He said, in the beginning, He said no, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Do you know what that means? The only principle I'm seeing there, the principle there is saying that it's possible to be a born-again Christian and your life is without form and void. It's possible for you to fill with the Holy Ghost and your life is without form and void. It's very possible. That's what that is telling you. That the Holy Spirit is there, but the earth is still without form and void until He spoke. But the first thing He spoke is that let there be light. So when I'm in a difficult situation, when everything is void and dark, I need understanding first. I need clarity first before I do anything. That's the principle there. That's the principle there. Clarity. Then you will notice He said, And the evening and the morning was the first day. Evening and morning, evening and morning, evening and morning. In anything you do in life, there is always darkness before light. People will always see your darkness. You will always be in obscurity before you come into light. Your obscurity can take 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on how fast you move and how much you know, but you will always start anything new in obscurity before it comes to limelight. So as you go through, if you begin to read and you read and begin to ask, you know, the beauty is this. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you a prayer you should go and pray. Let me tell you a prayer you should go and pray. The prayer is in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 15. Wherefore, I also, after I heard of your faith in the Lord Jesus and love unto all saints, cease not to give thanks for you, making mention of you in my prayer. Look at the prayer of Paul. Look at the prayer of Paul. That God, our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of glory, may give unto you the spirit of wisdom and understanding in the knowledge of him, the eye of your understanding being enlightened, that ye may know the hope of his calling and the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints. Pray that prayer every day. Spend time in praying that prayer. Meditate on it. As you read the scriptures, you will begin to see what you were not seeing before. Will you try it and let's discuss next week?
Okay, so I'll use the conversation, sir.
Let's see what happened in 30 days.
Thank you, sir.
Wow. Thanks. I was almost saying that maybe you do another series on like principles, because I was like,
okay, I've done a series on principle before. So chat me, I will drop a link for you so you can go through it.
Sir,
yes.
Sir, you said you were going to do a series on the kingdom some time ago. This time is Victor's time. Victor, congratulations.
Which one should we do now? Relationship or kingdom? I have the two of them ready. Which one should we do?
Relationship.
No problem. Relationship for a year, I'm sure.
I have the kingdom ready, and that one is supposed to be 20 episodes actually. I have the kingdom ready. So let's do relationship. Relationship will take us maybe another 2 months, but we round up the year with kingdom. So maybe July, August, maybe September, we'll do relationship. For the rest of the year, we'll do kingdom.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
All right.
So,
All right.
okay, are you talking about the fundamental principles of succeeding in the kind of life? Is that the link, sir?
Yes. You will notice some scripture there, and you see some of those principles inside. If you check there, you will. Now, if you listen to that very well, after a while, you begin to see the way I was discussing those things. The way, at some point, I actually was searching for this thing in the Bible. Every day as I read, that's what I'm looking for. Every day. So some of these things I just talked about now, I was looking for them, actively looking for them. Actively. And I will give it a name, my own name. And I will define that principle based on the scriptures.
Okay, because in many of these, we just say principle number 4, the law of favor, love, long life.
Yeah. No. I mentioned I mentioned the scripture. No. Check it. I mentioned everything. And maybe not in everything, but I mentioned the scriptures. Maybe not in everything. Don't worry.
I know the
we might do that again. Maybe sometimes next year. We might do that again next year because since it's coming up again.
Okay, sir. I'm quite listening before, so I'm listening the second time again. So it's because it's actually very deep. So they have to like listen over and over.
Yes. That's the beauty of principles. You cannot get it wrong with principles. You really cannot go wrong with it. When you are focused on practice varies from generation to generation, from nation to nation. Practice always varies, but principle does not change. For example, principle of clothing. Clothing is for covering. Clothing should be glorifying. These are principles in the Bible. Garden of Eden talk about covering. Moses, when he was called an Egyptian, when he was a Jew, you learn there the principle of clothing is identifying. Then when God told Aaron the way he should dress, he talked about it should be for glory and for beauty. So when you dress, you should dress for beauty. You should dress to glorify God. You should dress not as an harlot. That principle does not change no matter the generation. Identifying, glorifying, beautifying, covering. It does not change. Principle. It doesn't matter the kind. It's a leather cloth, it's a wooden cloth, it's a cotton cloth. It doesn't matter the kind of cloth. The principle is more important. With principle, you won't get it wrong. But when you go to practices, you begin to argue what to wear and not what to wear.
So still like speaking in tongues, what's the principle behind it? Because some people argue that people that speak in tongues their prayer is more effective than those that doesn't. Is there?
No. Someone made an analogy that I like. He said, when you speak in tongues, you communicate in a language that even you yourself does not know, and it allows you to allow the Spirit to lead you on what to say, and you might end up praying for people you don't even know that need your prayer at that particular point in time. He said we don't know how to pray, but the Spirit helpeth our infirmity with groaning that cannot be uttered. But does not mean if you are not speaking in tongues, it doesn't make you less a Christian. Look, what makes you a Christian is living the life of Christ. Period. Period. You believe in Christ, you live based on his principle. Period. That's what makes you a Christian. So these are all important, what I would call fringe benefits of being a Christian. Let me allow you to go. It's 9 already. So we see next week. Yes.
Okay.
You see how the question?
Like the principle of the Bible and the life of like I used to say like I'm also like you say that unbelievers they follow the principle of the Bible and they don't follow the is it the life?
Yes,
I'm like
now, the principle is blind. The principle of God is blind. It's blind to color, it's blind to race, it's blind to religion, it's blind to gender. So people have read the Bible, they've brought up principles from the Bible, they've written books based on principle of the Bible. Unbeliever pick up that book, read the book, practice the principle. He doesn't read the Bible, but he's practicing exactly what the Bible said, and it will work for him. But the believer that read the Bible cannot see that principle, neither practice the principle. So you see, unbelievers are the one really making the money, creating the job. Believers are not able to. Why? Because we are not practicing the principle. Look, let me tell you, in the Bible, do you notice all the people that God called? None of them had a job. They were all doing business. They were not idle. Most of them, at least most of them were businessmen. Even in New Testament, Jesus called businessmen, not people that have a job. And the Bible actually said you should do your own business. He said you should do your own business. Have you seen that in your Bible before?
Yes.
He said you should do your own business. He said, study to be quiet and do your own business and work with your own hand so that you can work honestly towards them that are without, so you will be able to pay your bill and lack nothing. These are principles the unbeliever practice. We don't. The principle is blind to color, race, gender. If you practice it, because everybody is a child of God anyway, God created everybody. Some are born again Christian, where everybody were created by God, and God loved everybody. God loved everybody. So if you practice the principle, it works for you. It doesn't matter who you believe. Even if you hate God, it will work for you. Because there are principles set forth on earth. Just the way the rain fall on the just and the unjust. That's the way the principles also operate on everybody that practices it. Someone said Christians embrace the person of Jesus, but reject the principle of Jesus. Unbelievers embrace the principle of Jesus, but reject the person of Jesus. So they create the job for the Christians to come and do, to come and work. So they influence our lives and dictate the way we live our lives, where we can go, where we cannot go, what we can do, what we cannot do.
So, sir, how do we like? Is it? I don't. Let me say, is it possible to like combine both together effectively?
Combine what?
Both the principle, like both the person of Jesus and the principle.
No, that is what
Because
we have to
sometimes
do as a Christian now. That's what you should do as a Christian. If you have accepted the person of Jesus, then learn his principle so you can be like him. For example, labor not for the meat that perisheth. What does that mean? Don't live your life based on what to eat and what to drink. That is the principle of Jesus. Live your life based on the value you want to create and be a blessing on the earth to be fruitful. That's the principle of Jesus. Jesus was a workaholic. I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. Jesus said, my Father worketh hitherto and I walk. God is working. Jesus is working. Believers are lazy.
So because what I'm thinking about is that is there not a temptation that once you are very focused on the principle that you tend to major more on it and like what? Because I'm like I end of the day, you look like when you're reading the Bible,
Major
you
more
have,
on
like,
it and what? Hold on. You major more on it and what?
and leave the other like aside because
Which one? Which other one? Which
if
other one?
like the person of Jesus, because even
So
in
now, the
our work
first
with
thing
God,
you should know is
not
to
easy to
embrace the
also
person of Jesus first. If you have embraced the person of Jesus, it's easy to combine both. But if you're not embracing the person of Jesus and practice the principle, it's likely you ignore him. But if you already embrace the person of Jesus, let me tell you, I believe strongly for someone to reject Jesus. If you're a born-again Christian, you say you give life to Christ, and you reject Jesus, and you reject his person, it's a sign that you were just a religious person. You didn't really know God. Because the life that Christ called you to is going to make you more healthy. It's going to make you more peaceful. It's going to remove depression. It's going to make you more happy. So if you don't like it, then something is wrong. That means you don't even know what your Christianity should be about. For example, he says you should forgive. Forgiving will make you to create happiness hormone. He said you should give. Giving will create happiness hormone. Unforgiveness, anger, fight, animosity, malice will create stress hormone that will destroy your white blood cell and destroy your body. So when you look at what being born again means, is good for you as a person. So someone rejecting the person of Jesus is a sign that he was a religious person. He never understands what it means to be born again. So rejecting the person of Jesus is not what I expect a believer to do. You should now add the principle to it, so you can be a total man.
okay. I'm not saying now like someone may like let me someone even accept like believes in Jesus, but that's where it stops. Does not seek after growth and just
Hold
focus
on.
on
Believe in Jesus.
because
Believe is an action word, though. Believe is an action word, though. So I don't know what you mean by believe in Jesus and not doing. Evidence you believe is what you are doing. Though.
no, not doing, but not growing. I'm saying like not growing because his mind is not.
Define what you mean by growing.
Okay, like growing, like no, Paul said like that I may know him, that it was like you task more after God, you want to know more about.
You are still talking theory. You have not said anything. No. What do you mean? Can you see you yourself
like
explain what you are saying? What do you mean by growing?
Like being more fruits now, like growing in the things of God, like
Is that what?
demonstrating more of. It's just like demonstrating more Christian virtues.
And
Growing
you say it's
in,
not growing. What makes you to think it's not growing? If love is making him happier, he want to show more love. If being peaceful making him happier, he want to be more peaceful now. Why will he not grow in it? Unless it's not practicing and seeing the result. If you practice and see the result, you will grow in it. Because you're enjoying it. When you're not growing in it, it's because you're not enjoying it. Christianity for many, my brother, is theory and very, very unproductive, very theoretical. Very theoretical. It's not practicable. Most things that people are learning. Break it down. I tell people, what does it mean to be spiritual? To be spiritual does not mean to pray. To be spiritual does not mean, and that does not mean prayer is not good. I've done a series on prayer. To be spiritual does not mean to worship, to read the Bible. That's not what to be spiritual is to manifest the fruit of the Spirit. To be loving is to be spiritual. To be peaceful is to be spiritual. To be gentle is to be spiritual. Because they are called the fruit of the Spirit. What's the fruit of the Spirit? Fruit is result of being spiritual. The result. So when you say the person is growing, if loving is making him happier, he will be foolish not to demonstrate more love. He will be foolish. Because loving is making him healthier. Any other question? Victor, I'm always enjoying your question. I hope you will have question on relationship when we start next week. I hope you have question on relationship when we start next week.
I will have most likely.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been an interesting. It's a good way to end
once again for this terms.
A very good way to end this series. This playlist is there on the group. So you can go through it again so you can strengthen your faith. If you have a friend that is doubting his Christianity, please share the playlist with them. Let them listen to it. If they have questions, let them reach out to me. I will gladly want to address their concerns as much as I can. Let's try as much as possible to inform our friends. And for those, if you have a friend, he already has, he has someone he wants to marry already, the person has proposed to him or her, or they are ready to get married, they are going to the altar, please share with them, I beg, next week. The flyer will soon be out. I'll drop it on the group. Please tell them to come around so that they can understand what it means to be married in the 21st century. It's not the way our parents did it. If you do it the way our parents do it, we'll be in big trouble. All right, thank you very much. See you next week and bye-bye.
Good night, sir. Thank you so much.
All right.